Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Academic Integrity Workshop, part of our Be Engaged workshop series, brought to you by the Office of Student Financial Aid. We'll start today by introducing our Student Success Services within the Office of Student Financial Aid. Our Success Services offers a range of resources, including one-on-one success coaching and basic needs support, both of which works to provide essential support to students. Additionally, we have our workshop series, which covers a diverse set of topics designed to enhance individual success. Finally, we have our mentorship piece, providing an opportunity for peer-to-peer or peer-to-alumni mentoring. Our space is located at East Campus Mall, but for now, we're available virtually. Basic needs coordinators and success coaches are available to meet with you through video chat or over the phone. Visit our website, located in the bottom left of the screen, to set up a meeting with us today. Now, to introduce ourselves. Hi, I'm Jordan Salas, and I'm a second-year PhD student.
Hi, I'm Lucy Wren, and I'm a first-year master's student. The role of the Student Success Coach is designed to help you identify a pathway to success across different areas, to optimize opportunities, and to enhance your Wisconsin experience. Okay, so back to our Academic Integrity Exploring Virtual Classrooms workshop. The purpose of this presentation is to help you adapt to a virtual classroom community and to manage healthy expectations as a virtual student. Historically meant to describe the code of conduct that students must abide by, addressing issues such as cheating and plagiarism, we've decided to build on the long-standing definition of academic integrity so that it encompasses our current situation a bit better. We'll spend this time discussing methods, strategies, and tactics that you can adopt and modify as needed so as to gain the most from the asynchronous experience. Throughout the presentation, we'll allow space to engage in open discussion and chat about the things that resonate most with you. Also, feel free to ask questions or to reflect openly about the content within the presentation. Remember, this isn't a lecture or a class, and we're so excited to share this space with you. As fellow students, we understand many of the difficulties that so many students are experiencing right now, and we're happy to share a few ideas and additional resources that we think might be helpful to you. Also, please feel free to use the raise hand function or the chat function during the presentation. Remember, you can chat with everyone or just to the moderators.
First, optimism goes a long way. More often than not, optimism helps to fuel our efficiency and belief toward getting goals accomplished. Without optimism, planning, task management skills, and the best virtual office may mean very little. If your optimism is wavering, or if you've been struggling to find any reason to be optimistic, then consider the following. First, because of a seamless, well-integrated environment, your learning doesn't have to stop. So much about the college experience is life outside of the classroom. However, your primary focus and responsibility is to strengthen your skill set and to compete inside the classroom and beyond. Second, through technology and as a result of the inventiveness of instructors and students, just like you, there are so many ways for us to connect and to meet new people. For instance, through virtual spaces, we're able to connect one-on-one with our classmates and form study groups or join one of the many virtual exercise classes offered by Recwell. Additionally, there are services offered by UHS that will make sure that we're able to access support to nurture our mental health and well-being. Right now, things are a bit challenging, even as we try our hardest to remain optimistic. As a result, we may experience an impact on our mental health. We encourage you to take advantage of the support services offered by UHS and explore just how you can find additional mental health support.
If you've had the opportunity to take a look at some of our other recordings like Hello, Are You There? And Deep to Your Core, where we explore topics ranging from different communication styles and ways that you'll enhance your understanding of your own core values, you'll know that we typically highlight on-campus resources where students can access tools to accomplish goals particular to the presentation's content. Likewise, we've included resources that are helpful to ensure that your e-learning experience is fully optimized. But this time, we've included a few resources at the beginning to make sure, going into the presentation, you have access to these useful tools before your next class starts. Attending meetings and classes within a virtual environment still takes some getting used to, and it also exposes technology and information gaps that we may not have been aware of before. Before we begin, consider the things you need to ensure you're able to regularly attend meetings and classes, and make sure that you have the right hardware and software necessary to follow along. For instance, visit the links on this page to learn more about how to access computers, laptops, and other hardware that you might need during the semester. Also, the software library offers several resources that you can download onto your computer, ensuring that you'll be able to continue using the most updated software applications for class. Toward the end of the presentation, we'll spend more time discussing on-campus resources that you can use to access to ensure that you have the necessary information or technology that you'll need to be successful.
By now, you've probably received several emails from leadership at the university, including your instructors and possibly from other students who lead student-based organizations across campus. In addition to the larger virtual gatherings, many departments across campus have held separate town halls to address department-specific issues that impacts both instructors and students, and are usually open for students to log in. While reading the many emails is helpful, along with talking to instructors and classmates, joining these town hall events is also a great way to learn about the university or department-wide changes so that you're aware of what's happening on campus. Open and honest dialogue, especially with service leaders within the university, is one of the most effective ways to stay in the know and to be involved in the larger conversation. Additionally, involvement with virtual town halls, both large and small, allow for you to advocate for yourself and speak power to issues and concerns that are most important to you. Additionally, becoming involved with virtual town halls is a great way to learn and better understand the issues and concerns of your classmates across campus, and to better understand how they're adjusting in spite of these challenges and barriers. Lastly, UW-Madison has a significant social media presence and updates its accounts regularly. If you haven't already, follow along on social media and stay in the know.
So, how are we so far? Is there any one thing so far that stands out the most? Are there a handful of things that we've mentioned that you want to talk more about? Has anyone found it difficult to stay up to date with the constant emails? Has anyone experienced difficulty in accessing any of the campus resources? How about staying optimistic? Share an emoji in the chat to describe how your semester is going so far. It's important to remember that e-learning, although away from the classroom and under unconventional circumstances, the objective is to learn. Just as it is when we're physically present in classrooms across campus. Although logging into class is not the same as physically being present in class, consider the ways in which the virtual classroom and the physical classroom are similar. With that in mind, it's important that we interact with our classmates, instructors, and course content just as we would under more normal circumstances. With these things in mind, be aware that your objective is to learn, and make yourself present and thoughtfully engage with members of your class. Take seriously the content that's being discussed. Ask questions and make comments just as you would in the physical classroom, and stay focused on the course objectives. It also might be helpful to review classroom protocols or to check in with the professor or teaching assistant to keep in mind changes in classroom etiquette so that you stay abreast with classroom guidelines. Additionally, hold yourself accountable to produce the same quality of work that you ordinarily would. One way to do this, in addition to establishing a workspace and a work schedule, which we'll talk more about throughout the presentation, is to employ a time management strategy that will reinforce the value of your workspace and your work schedule. Next, let's explore ways in which you can limit distractions in your environment.
Here's a question. How many times has your dog or cat walked across your laptop? Or how many times has your roommate interrupted you while you were hard at work? We wish we had a way to remove all distractions from your space, but we can hopefully get you closer to a distraction-free workspace. Here are a few tips to consider that'll help you work with less distractions. Number one, Turn off or mute your devices. Have you come across a particularly difficult math problem or statistical equation that made you just want to scream or reach for your phone instead? No worries. Try turning off your phone or leaving it in another room while you work. Two, don't try to do too much at once. Multitasking, as you'll hear again during the presentation, can be a bit of a distraction too. Most often, multitasking leads to burnout quicker because juggling all of the different tasks requires that your brain services too many things at once, which leads to mental exhaustion. For starters, try closing all of your browsers except for where your class is so that you're devoting full attention to just one thing at a time. Number three, having a to-do list or a do not enter sign outside of your workspace if you're working from home are just a couple of ways that you can establish boundaries for yourself and for others. Whichever set of parameters you employ, make sure that they foster the growth and make sure that they foster your growth and they don't get in the way of it, ultimately becoming another distraction. Number four, consider investing in a pair of noise canceling headphones that'll work to block out unnecessary noise and other loud distractions. Without a doubt, these things can be pricey, but there are affordable options on the market. Take a look back at our financial hygiene presentation to discover ways in which you can plan your purchase of these headphones. Number five, self-reflection is a great way toward working to identify your triggers. Next time you're hard at work and suddenly feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what is it that's stressing me out? Oftentimes, that thing will make itself known to you. Just take a deep breath and focus. And lastly, number six, perhaps one of the most important items on this list is for you to listen to yourself. Perhaps you need to take more smaller breaks throughout the day or exercise first thing in the morning to be most productive. Whatever it is, listen to your body. When your mind or body feels like it's at its limit, just step away and take a break.
Whether you like a dimly lit setting, work well with minimal background noise, or with or without music, it's important that these seemingly small things be considered before settling into your space. If your environment isn't ideal and you find yourself thinking about making constant adjustments to your space, realize sooner or later that so much of your time has gone into your workspace and not as much into your work. So make sure that you're in a space that'll allow you to work under the most appropriate circumstances. Along with making sure that your workspace is conducive to your success, take time out to create a daily or weekly schedule so that you'll stay on top of your tasks. For instance, consider using a notebook or a planner wherein you make note of your commitments for the day. Likewise, Microsoft Outlook's calendar function can help you highlight and manage your daily events too. Plan out the day's action items ahead of time. You'll find that relying on your ability to multitask too much can negatively impact your efficiency and lead to mistakes, large and small. Try doing things one at a time. For instance, if you have competing priorities for the day, no worries. Most often, this will be the case. But instead of trying to get everything done at once, consider which tasks will take the least amount of time that you can complete quickly so that you can move on to tasks that require more of your focus. This way, your tasks are less likely to pile up day after day, and you'll begin to clear things from your to-do list. Also, pair your to-do list with your calendar. Do you have enough time to get everything done by the end of the day? Will you need to move items around across other days of the week so that you don't fall behind? This strategy will also help you prioritize your tasks, which ultimately helps to free up time for other activities throughout the day. If time management strategies are new for you, or if you need help using them, no problem. Consider establishing the time management goals that reflect the priorities on your to-do list. Perhaps one goal is to have an extra 30 minutes before work. How does your current schedule aid you in achieving this goal? Is there something that you should change in order to help you achieve the goal? Or perhaps getting an earlier start to the day is the change that you need. Check in with yourself to see what works well and what doesn't work at all, and be honest with yourself about the changes you need to make in order to achieve your goals. Along with making sure you're not multitasking too many things at once, remember to revisit the syllabus or your tasks for work and consider which are due right away.
Now that we've spent some time talking a little bit about structure, limiting distractions, and time management, let's reflect and see how things are going so far. Has anyone had to completely rearrange their living space to accommodate their workspace? How fun, exciting, or difficult was that to do? Has anyone experienced trouble limiting distractions? What are those distractions? How has it been to manage your time while learning virtually? Has anyone found that they're more of a morning person or an evening person? What's it been like for you? So, if you're able, open up a Microsoft Word document or an Excel spreadsheet and create a column labeled Activities and one that says Time Needed. Under the Activities column, jot down all of the activities that you do throughout the week. For example, under the Activities tab, you might list each of your classes as separate activities, as well as list studying, exercise, downtime, household chores, sleep, meals, social commitments. Take a second and think about all of the other activities that you're engaged in throughout the week and include those as well. No task is too small, so give this some thought. Next, next to the activities that you have listed, include the amount of time that you spend doing each on your list. Once you've done this, add up all of the time values so that you have a total number of hours at the bottom of your time column. Now, what's your total number of hours? Are you under 168 hours a week, or are you above 168 hours a week? According to this activity, if you're under 168 hours, then you probably have a little free time on your hands. Likewise, if you're over 168 hours per week, then you're probably overcommitted. We'll include a link to the assignment in the chat box here so that you can spend more time going over this example. Now, let's consider how you can go about creating a schedule that allows for you to optimize your productivity throughout the day. Before we begin, think about the day from a big picture perspective. Ask yourself, what else do I need from myself in order to stay on top of everything without burning out? The goal is to create a reasonable schedule that will allow for you to work efficiently throughout the day. Let's take a look at how we can get that done. Number one, ease into your workday. Instead of diving into your workday head first, catch up on a piece of reading that you enjoy that's totally unrelated to your work. The goal here is to wake up the brain before putting it to work. Take 20 to 30 minutes warming up to the day that's ahead while finishing your breakfast. Number two, take a look at your to-do list and commit to accomplishing important tasks that you can get done before class. However, leave yourself a block of time before class begins for a study period and to review notes and work for today's class. Number three, now check the time. Class is just about to start. Double check to make sure that you have all of your essential tools before class begins. Is your internet connection strong? Do you have the class text nearby? How about your laptop and cell phone charger? Do you have those items? Have you replied to that last text? Lastly, it might be time for a snack before class begins. Take care of these things before class begins to avoid logging into class late. Number four, what about the asynchronous class? Have you taken another look at Canvas or checked the syllabus to see which reading or assignment you need to work on for that day? Are there any recorded lectures that you need to tune into, or perhaps one that you need to revisit? To best optimize your asynchronous class experience, make sure that you're spending an adequate amount of time tuning into this class, just as you're doing for each of your other classes. Number five, now that class is done, take another look at your to-do list. What's on your list that still needs to get accomplished for the day? What other meetings do you have for the day? Consider what's next for the day while you prepare for lunch or midday activity. Over the next hour, consider taking a midday break from classwork, and your other tasks. Ideally, you've left yourself enough time to eat lunch and decompress with something that you enjoy. Perhaps you have time to watch an episode of a show or have time to exercise before lunch. Have you checked the Recwell fitness schedule? Are there any classes that you'd like to join while on break? Next, we'll explore the second half of the day and ways to ensure your efficiency after your midday break.
Now that you've had an opportunity to decompress for a bit and eat some lunch, it's time to return to the virtual office. First, take a look at your to-do list. Ideally, you've left yourself enough time between your midday break and your next class or meeting. For the sake of this demonstration, let's pretend that your next class or meeting is in about 2 hours. That leaves you with 2 hours worth of time in which to do some work. Next, spend this time preparing for the next class or meeting. Have you done the reading? Are your notes prepared? Have you taken the time to outline parts of the text or assignment that you find troubling? Are you prepared to talk about them during class or your meeting? If you've already prepared for the next class or meeting and are all caught up with the reading, take another look at your to-do list. What else needs to get started or completed for the day? Perhaps now is a good time to get started on that large project that you have, or to begin working on homework from a previous class. Once class is over, take another look at your to-do list. Are you on schedule for the week? Are you noticing that you're getting things accomplished on time, or that you're using your time efficiently? Take this time to update your to-do list and make sure that you've taken away accomplished items and have recorded new items that need attention. Next, let's consider additional resources that might come in handy to make sure you're managing your daily and weekly tasks appropriately.
The most effective way to stay on schedule is to honor the time that you've set aside for the task on your calendar. However, we realize that this is easier said than done, so we've included a few tips to help you stay on top of things. Before making the commitment to do something, like hopping a virtual meeting or joining a conference call, refer to your schedule. Don't be afraid to say that you're unavailable. Being unavailable doesn't mean that you're uninterested or that you don't care. It really just means that you have something else going on at that time and can't step away. Second, set reminders for yourself about upcoming events. For example, if you're in the middle of working on an assignment, try setting a reminder that gives you a 10-minute reminder that your next task is approaching. Purposely ask someone to interrupt. Oddly enough, some distractions are welcomed when we're trying to stay on task. For instance, if you have a scheduled meeting with a classmate and you're afraid that the meeting might go over and spill into time that you've mapped out for another task, ask a friend to call you so that you're able to stay on track. Lastly, in addition to the friendly and purposeful interruption, use a meeting agenda so that you're able to stay on track and use your meeting time effectively. List any questions or general thoughts that you wish to address, along with task-related updates to share with your team.
Primarily, the goal here is to unwind. After a long day full of work, meetings, and assignments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. However, making time for yourself to do whatever it is that you want to do is essential for your success. Far too often, we make excuses to ditch downtime and move on to more work, thinking that it's better to use the time to work ahead. Sure, there are a few times where we'll find ourselves working later into the day, but this shouldn't be the norm. However, downtime should definitely be included in your schedule every day. Since the objective here is to unwind and escape work for a bit, you shouldn't include work or any work-related tasks to unwind. So ask yourself, do I need the laptop to unwind? For instance, let's say you're a gamer and you rely on your computer to play games. Although it might be better to step away and give yourself some time away from the screen, we're all for balanced use of screen time. So don't rule out games or other things that you might want to do on the laptop during your scheduled downtime. Also remember that achieving long-term goals and even some short-term goals is a marathon and not a sprint. Similar to a marathon runner whose schedule includes several breaks when preparing for a marathon, use rest periods to give yourself a break from the work to avoid premature burnout. Keep in mind that scheduled downtime also helps you accomplish the things on your to-do list. In order to optimize its full capacity, your brain needs rest. Overworking it and not allowing it the time needed to rest, you'll start to see a decline in performance, and it'll show in your work. So, how much downtime do you currently have set aside for yourself each day?
Let's reflect a bit. Consider the following questions. Do you already rely on scheduling activities to stay on task? Has your ability to rely on a schedule been affected at all by virtual learning? If so, in what way? How have you been able to mitigate these challenges? Do you find it helpful to schedule things like downtime, exercise, even sleep to make sure that you've got every base covered? Are you new to scheduling? And have you found this exercise to be helpful? Can you think of any other helpful tips or strategies that have worked for you in the past that you'd like to continue to do? Changes in our routines and structural disruptions may cause us to find it difficult to concentrate or feel motivated. However, it's essential that we take charge in sustaining our mental and physical health while learning, especially during unconventional circumstances. Staying engaged with our communities is paramount to establishing best practices that promote habits to boost our mental health. Additionally, staying engaged with our communities may lead to establishing new and different ideas and physical activities that we can do safely with others or individually. For example, through your network of communities, you may discover that several people you know like to have monthly competitions, perhaps seeing who's able to run the most miles per month. Or you might discover that several people you know enjoy connecting through the arts and take turns hosting paint parties. However, be mindful of changes in your community that may impact your level of engagement with others to avoid sickness. In addition to turning into our communities for additional support, consider spending time outdoors or away from your workspace. Perhaps you can go for a longer walk than usual, or pick a new place outdoors to sit for lunch, or catch up with a leisurely read. Let's take a look at other resources across campus for additional support.
Just as your calendar will help you maintain an updated schedule, which helps to prioritize tasks, having support will also help you sustain and stay on track. Here are a couple of ways in which you can build the proper support system that'll help you stay committed throughout the semester. First, establish a support network with your friends or classmates. With support from your peers, you'll secure much needed people time, which will interrupt feelings of isolation, as well as motivate you to stay on track of your coursework. Additionally, this support network might also help to provide constructive feedback, a concept that we'll explore in an upcoming workshop. Next, maintain regular communication with your instructors throughout the semester. Remember, even while we're e-learning and engaging with class content asynchronously, instructors and TAs still have office hours and are available to connect with students throughout the week. Are you aware of your instructor's office hours? Perhaps you'll receive the sort of support that you're looking for during a one-on-one virtual meeting with your instructor or TA. In addition to these steps, let's explore some campus resources that you can access that'll provide additional support.
No matter your need, look to UW-Madison's many resources that can help provide you the support and guidance that you need. In addition to success services offered by the Office of Student Financial Aid that provides success coaching, basic needs support, as well as the workshop series, which you're participating in now, UW-Madison is rich with resources that you can access remotely.
Before starting another general discussion, we'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you for joining us today and participating in our very first workshop webinar. Throughout the semester, we'll continue working on workshops like this one, and we'll be tuned in to students across campus to make sure that we're providing you with the most useful content. In addition to the webinars, we'll also record this presentation, which you'll be able to access from our homepage. Now, let's open up the floor. How is everyone feeling at this point with 1 month into the new semester nearly complete? If you're leaving us at this point, thank you again for joining us today.